Aloha. Welcome to this May 9th, 2022 budget workshop meeting for the Board of Water Supply. My name is Board Chair Brian Andayan. I'd like to go over some virtual meeting regulations required by law. Board members attending any board meeting remotely must be visible to the public to be considered present and meet quorum guideline. Board members participating remotely must also disclose their location and anyone present at their location during the roll call. The public is now invited to attend our Board of Water Supply board meetings here at the BWS Public Service Building located at 630 Bear Canyon Street, Honolulu, Hawaii 96843. You can also attend via interactive conference technology. Masks are optional. I would like to take a moment to take a roll call of the board members present here today. Please say aye when I call your name and make the appropriate disclosures. Here in the boardroom, we have board member Max Sort.
Here.
Board member Jade Butai.
Present, and I'm here by myself.
Thank you. Board member Dawn Sefcik.
Present, and I'm in my office by myself.
Oh, I see Vice Chair Kapua Spro.
Aloha, sorry, I was a little late. I'm appearing remotely from my home office and I am alone with the door closed. Mahalo.
Thank you. I think that's it. All right, so we do have, for the record, we do have quorum present here for this budget workshop board meeting. For attendees who are calling or video conferencing in, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. If you have a question, comment, or wish to entertain a motion or second a motion on an action item, please unmute your microphone and identify yourself before continuing to speak. I'd like to recognize here in the room with us is Manager Ernest Lau and Board Secretary Joy Cruz Achu. Joining on Webex to monitor public testimony is Ms. Tracy Burgo, Information Specialist with the Communications Office. And also joining by telephone conference or Webex are Mr. Jeff Lau and Ms. Jessica Wong, both from the City and County Corporation Council Department. If you encounter any technical issues during today's meeting, please use Webex Chat to send a direct message to our support team. Their names are listed in a message to all Webex participants. To open the chat window, please click or tap on the text bubble icon on the right side of the Webex toolbar. Before beginning today's regular meeting, I'd like to state that this board is dedicated to providing safe, dependable, and affordable supply of water now and into the future. Testimony can be submitted in various ways. We were accepting written testimony either by email or fax. We also accepted mail written testimony via US mail. Online testimony at our website, boardofwatersupply.com/testimony. All written testimony will also be posted to our BWS website at boardofwatersupply.com. If you haven't had a chance to testify in writing, you can call in. We are accepting telephone testimony through this meeting today. And the number to call is 808-748-6040. Again, that number is 808-748-6040. Callers will be placed in a queue and brought up to testify one at a time. We are also accepting in-person testimony throughout this meeting. To do so, you must be present here at the Board of Water Supply Public Service Building located at 630 South Baratanga Street in Honolulu. Those wishing to provide in-person testimony will be escorted to our boardroom here to testify. Meeting materials or the board packet defined under HRS section 92-7.5 are accessible at our website, www.boardofwatersupply.com/board meetings. We are also live streaming today via our website. Again, that's www.boardofwatersupply.com/live. The video player will appear on your screen. You may have to click on the arrow on the video to start it. You may also have to unmute the audio, as muted audio tends to be the default setting. All right, moving to our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we have just one item on the agenda. And this is a workshop meeting for the proposed fiscal year 2022-2023 operating and capital improvement program budget. Chair recognizes Ms. Raylin Nakabayashi, Mr. Jason Takaki, and Manager Lau.
Thank you, Chair. As Raylene brings up the presentation, I just want to note for the record too that we have all the program administrators in the various Board of Water Supply divisions and offices present. Should there be any questions that might come up regarding the budget, proposed budget. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Go ahead, Ray.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. So we're doing our fiscal year 2023 budget workshop. And we'll start with the operating budget and capital improvement program budget. So our fiscal year 2023 operating budget increases by 10.3% or $22.1 million. Our capital improvement program budget is relatively flat with a 0.6% increase or $1.1 million. And consistent with our long-range financial plan, we do intend to issue revenue bonds in the later half of the fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $66.1 million to fund part of that CIP. Presented here are fiscal years 19 through 23 operating and CIP budgets. The operating budgets have consistently grown over the last few years due to increases in personnel costs, materials, supplies, and services, and additional debt service costs from our issuance of those revenue bonds. CIP budgets, with the exception of fiscal year 21, which was kind of an anomaly with the amendment, but they have also consistently grown as we work to achieve our water master plan goals of replacing 21 miles of pipeline per year. And while the amount budgeted in fiscal year 23 for the CIP aligns with our long-range financial plan, the focus on projects this year has shifted to addressing our Red Hill crisis, which will be discussed in more detail during the CIP portion of this presentation. So our proposed operating budget is based on total operating fund resources of $302 million. Operating fund resources are made up of our beginning fund balance plus revenues plus prior year lapses and adjustments. And in alignment with the updated long-range financial plan, BWS has been working to maintain only enough financial reserves as required by our financial policies. This has effectively reduced our carryover or fund balance year over year, with carryover or fund balance simply being the unbudgeted or unreserved cash amount that remains at the end of each fiscal year. Our fiscal year 23 budget was created to further reduce carryover going forward. This slide illustrates our total resources versus total expenditures, with resources being the column to the left made up of green, which is revenues, orange, which is the fund balance, and red, which are prior year lapses and adjustments. Expenditures for each year are represented to the right in the purple column. Fiscal years 18 through 21 are year actuals, and fiscals 22 and 23 are the budgeted amounts. As is illustrated here, Since the adoption of our current rate schedule and long-range financial plan, we've been bringing down the fund balance. That's this orange block. And the concerted effort to use our unreserved cash to fund both our operating expenditures and a portion of our CIP allows us to evaluate and pursue smaller incremental rate increases. So as of fiscal year ended June 30, 2021, these are board adopted financial policies. So our debt service coverage ratio at the end of the fiscal year is 3.5 times on senior debt and 2.59 times all in. And our net working capital is calculated to be 105 days, which is between our financial policy of having no less than 60 and no more than 180. So our total operating fund expenditures for fiscal year 23 are budgeted at 296.1 million. That's made up mostly of materials, supplies, and services at 86.7 million, followed by fixed charges at 59.5 million. Funding for our capital improvement program budget at 58.9 million, followed by personnel services at 51.4 million, debt service at 34.5 million, and equipment of 5.1 million. Of the 58.9 million in capital improvement program funding in this of the operating or funded by the operating fund, 500,000 of that is eligible for reimbursement from the State of Hawaii Department of Health State Revolving Fund Loan Program. Okay, so this slide represents our actual operating fund expenditures from fiscal years 19 through 21, and then the budgeted amounts of 22 and 23. You will notice that our operating funded CIP expenditures in 2019 were much more than they are today. That's reflective of a few things. So back then we were not issuing revenue bonds, so this was essentially the CIP. So our CIP has grown since 2019, and in alignment with the Water Master Plan and the Long Range Financial Plan, we use a mixture of financing. We use both cash and revenue bonds to finance the CIP. The 2020 was the first year we started issuing revenue bonds. So 2019, that's why it seems like there is so much more cash being put into the CIP. And as we continue on our Water Master Plan path, we'll continue that mix of financing. So if we exclude CIP though from our operating budget expenditures, we're looking at a 22.1 or 10.31% increase over fiscal year 22. There's the largest increase over fiscal year 22 is in materials, supplies, and services. That's a $10.9 million increase, followed by a $5.8 million increase in fixed charges and $4.9 million increase in debt service, which we'll go over in much more detail in the next few slides. So starting with salaries or personnel services, there's no net increase in full-time equivalent employees in fiscal year 23. Our department staffing remains below our authorized headcount of 741 FTE. And salaries are relatively flat, $40,000 decrease or 0.1%. And at the time of this budget right now, it's because there are no finalized collective bargaining adjustments. There were some negotiated CBA changes, but none of those have been finalized, so they're not yet reflected in the fiscal year 23 budget. And we continue our human resources initiatives to optimize and expand our operational capacity through reorganizations of functions and the leveraging of technology. We're also continuing on recruiting and advertising for our positions through additional venues. So here's where our budget increased by quite a bit this year. So 10.9 million or 14.4% over the prior year. This is primarily due to two things. So there's a $4.3 million increase in the information technology division that you'll see in your budget books. This is In total, it's to implement a much needed upgrade to our customer account system, which we call CCNB. And there's a $2.1 million increase in the water quality division to address impacts from the Red Hill bulk fuel storage facility crisis. The remaining $4.5 million increase over fiscal year 22 is about 2.1% over 22 and is pretty much aligned with the long-range financial plan. So of that 4.5 million though, there are increases in contractual services of 2.2 million, in field operations to address maintenance on our regulated dams, and in both information technology and executive support office, my office, to improve and maintain both our physical and cyber security. And there's also an increase in professional services of 1.5 million. That's to support both the Water Resources Division and Capital Projects Division as they implement our water master plan with an increasing capital improvement program budget. And you'll also see increases in treatment expenses. These are reflected in other materials and supplies and also non-potable water treatment plant costs. And that came up to about $995,000. So next in the operating budget is equipment. This one did increase also by about 486,000 or 10.6%. This is where we fund our new and replacement fleet equipment. This increase is mostly, there would have been a decrease except for that we are budgeting over $1 million for 2 new mobile generators. And this is to increase the resiliency of our water system in the event of commercial power outages. And while these generators are initially operating cash funded, the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, or HIEMA, did facilitate the award of a hazard mitigation grant program funding. So we expect to recover 75% of the costs of those generators from FEMA. And our debt service, as you all know, with the bond issuance, continues to keep going up each year. So we're seeing about a 10.9% or $4.9 million increase in debt service. And that is primarily the principal and interest payments on the bonds payable. That's 4.4 million, and a little bit more in SRF payments, 506,000 more. As we increase though, our debt service, as Joe reported previously, we've been able to maintain our good financing rates because of our ratings. So Fitch Ratings and S&P respectively assigned AA positive and AAA stable. And this is the second year, I think, that we've got the AAA from S&P. Ernie, can correct me if I'm wrong. Second, third? Second, I think.
At least the second year.
Yeah, which is the first of its kind of rating for a municipal style credit in Hawaii. Sorry, I practiced this and I didn't. It make me so thirsty, but okay. On average, a AAA borrower does pay about 20 basis points less than a AA borrower. So on the 66 million in bonds that we intend to issue next year, that's about 132,000 in interest savings. So fixed charges are also increasing. It's about 5.8 million more or 10.9% over last year. And this is primarily due to electricity costs. So even with our PV installations, since the start of this Russia-Ukraine situation on the world stage, our costs for electricity have dramatically increased. So we had to bring up our budget in fiscal year 23 to account for that uncertainty. And there's also a $1.7 million increase in employee benefits, such as the employees' retirement system and health benefits for both our employees and our retirees. So moving into revenue. So total revenues are actually projected to increase by 9.8 million or 3.9%. It's largely, most of our revenues anywhere, made up of our metered water sales. So those are projected to increase by 9.5 million or 4%. And it's mostly based on our historical usage projections. And then plus there's a rate adjustment scheduled for July 1st, 2022. So fiscal year 23. Other revenues are also projected to increase by a small amount, 220,000 or 2.4%, and that is primarily due to interest income. So this is just a chart of those revenues broken down. As you can see, most of all of our revenue comes from potable, non-potable. That's expected to go up by about 4%. Recycled water is almost flat. Other revenue is almost flat as well. So this chart is I did budget versus actual for fiscal years 2021, and then 22, I did a budgeted column versus our estimated revenues, and to the far right on your screen, I think this should be on your right side, is our fiscal year 23 budgeted revenues. So towards the end of 20 and then 21, these are still kind of our like COVID impacts to revenues. Water usage wasn't that high. And as you know, revenues are generated by how much water people are using. So they did drop down a little bit in the April to June 2020 timeframe. And then the early part of fiscal year 21, revenues were still low, but they did kind of recover as we got into the summer. And the revenues have since been strong. It's been a dry winter and a dry spring. And as you know, when that happens, usage goes up and therefore revenues up. So fiscal year 22 revenues are projecting to come in higher than budget by the end of this fiscal year. And we base our revenue projections on the future on that type of usage, so the usage patterns, and then we factor in also the rate increases, which are scheduled for July 1st. So as all the previous slides showed, so revenues are up about 3.9%, $9.8 million, but total operating fund expenditures, inclusive of what we need to spend in the CIP of our operating fund, are up by more. So that's 4.9 million higher over the prior year, about 5.3%. So our fiscal year 23 expenditures have greatly increased, more than we could have forecast when we were doing rate setting. And while our revenues are strong and we're doing our best to align our expenditures to our long-range financial plan, we must respond to the current crisis that we're in. Red Hill is causing us to change focus and address capacity issues that we didn't have previously. And this is coming at a time where inflation has returned and there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. So the budgets reflect the fact that things are getting more expensive. We're having to implement new projects and programs to address Red Hill. The CCMB upgrade must be done too. The CCMB is our customer upgrade. We're on an unsupported system that is actually, it's a security flaw to not update. So we have to move forward with all of these things. So all of these things are happening to us now. And even though revenues are strong, these expenditures are kind of outweighing that. So I will pause here and then we're going to get into CIP unless you wanted to ask any questions about the operating overview.
I have a question.
Sure.
I know that the $2.1 million increase because of Red Hill.
Yes,
And
in the
those are
water
being-
quality division.
Yeah, the water quality division.
Mm-hmm.
I do have can you point out where that
Sure.
would-
So in the budget book under water quality, you'll see an increase in administration. We've got professional service contracts out to it should be in the professional services line, object code for
Ray, can you give the page number out of the budget book?
I think it's page 5.
I'm not
Page
sorry.
5, I think. I think it's page 5.
Oh no, I have it here. It's OP10 through
Personal services?
OP14.
Professional services in water quality administration is up. And that is for a lot of the work that we're doing on the administrative orders that the state's giving out, our own modeling, studying, designing of projects to go forward as we address the Red Hill crisis. And then in Erwin, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say in the chemistry section under water quality, you will see increased costs for testing, which is reflected in other contractual services. So in those areas, that's where water quality is in general over their fiscal year 2022. And those are exclusive to the Red Hill issue.
Can I expand on that, Ray? This is
Uh-huh.
Max. I know we talked about it last meeting. Doesn't this all go back to the feds or the military to pay for all what we need to do to rectify what they cost?
We are tracking all of this. They've made no formal commitment or established any formal process to for restitution, but yes, we 100% agree with you, and we are making sure we keep track of all of these costs.
Well, let me go a little further and say, have we been keeping our congressional delegates appraised of this?
So this
Yeah, because don't we have someone on the military affairs, military committee or something? I don't know who that is. I'm trying to remember which
I think
senator
it's
or council.
Kahele.
Anyway, the crux of my question is that, I would assume we would kick the can upstairs to the feds to take care of this later on.
That is the intent,
Yeah.
to track these costs and go and seek reimbursement of these costs.
But what I'm hearing is that there's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. It has to go through a budgetary process in Congress.
So, and that's.
So, but we are tracking these costs because of the intent to actually try to recover these costs.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So, but are we keeping our congressional delegate appraised of?
We
what we're
have
doing?
already noticed them via letter that we are incurring costs, and our intent is to pursue recovery of these costs that are related to the Red Hill response.
Yeah,
And actually, what we have done just recently with Ray's help is submit a proposed project for earmark funding for the new wells in the order of $195 million.
yeah, because my follow-up comment is that you're looking at an increase or a revenue of 4.1% or something? But
These are
inflation,
overall almost 4%.
yeah, 4.1, I think I saw. I'm trying to look for the page, but anyway, but inflation seems to be more than that. So you sure that that's sufficient enough to cover while we wait for the feds to cough up the funds?
So the Red Hill costs are one component. They're not the only area of cost increases. So there are other areas like Ray identified, need to upgrade our customer care and billing system, CCMB. Also, the inflationary impacts of our fixed costs going up over time, in particular electricity being one of the components.
But no, what I'm saying is, yeah, what I'm saying is that it's 4.1%. Is that sufficient enough? Because we're still gonna cover the cost of the feds in the meantime, as well at the same time trying to keep up with the cost of everything.
So, board member Sword, so that's the kind of the how we're trying to juggle all these needs with the budgets that we have. So the operating budget has grown. What we've actually done, and as you see the picture later on, when we look at the CIP, is last week Friday we got approval for $25 million in federal funds to help fund $25.3 million to help fund CIP projects. So rather than using BWS funds to fund those CIP projects, now those are available for use in the operating budget and also a portion of it in our CIP. So I think if we could hold those points, let's let Ray go through the presentation of the CIP also with Jason. You'll see that we are pursuing federal funds. And I just want to make it very clear that our intent is to pursue with the support of the board recoupment of our costs related to the Red Hill situation. I think we need to wait till we have a much more substantial amount built up over time to go through that request, but we are looking at how to address some of the CIP funding, CIP project costs through federal funds.
Can
And
can I,
then, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
can I go back to the professional services for the operating budget?
mhm.
So, these professional services, they're, would this be for, you know, I guess for the admin orders, modeling, I guess it would be.
I think that
Consultants?
includes legal expenses and consultants too. So we have subject matter experts in this area.
Brian, what page are you on?
OP 10, OP 11, OP 12.
OP 10, 11, 12.
And Erwin, maybe you can jump in and explain the additional costs that we're incurring for Red Hill.
Yeah, sure. So first, we do have our responses to some of the contested case and the appeals to the different emergency orders. That's one. Secondly, we are incurring some additional costs for an accelerated, our exploratory well project, going through the permitting and approval process to get those designs and approvals to install those wells. We also do beyond the Red Hill, we have existing contractual obligations. We have two new regulations coming up next year. One is the lead and copper rule revisions. And then we also have the unregulated contaminant monitoring rule requirements for next year testing. So those are all of the items that are consistent within the professional service that account for the increase.
Okay,
Thank you, Erwin.
Thank you.
thank you. Can proceed.
Back to the, and the only other thing I wanted to say, board member Sword, is we're in the last of 5 years of the rate increases. So we have currently a cost of service study ongoing for our rates for the next 5. So the 4% or aggregate 4% increase across all the different customer classes. This is the last year of that rate schedule. We should be adopting, with your permission, of course, a new rate schedule 24 and beyond.
Didn't we just authorize an increase a couple years ago?
Board member Sword, our approach is to have smaller incremental increases steadily over time,
Yeah.
as opposed to no rate increases and large.
A big chunk at the end.
Well, that's harder for our customers to afford. So we are doing the rate study to project forward what the revenue requirements are going to be in the next 5-year period, and what kind of rate increases we might need. And we're trying to really balance that with keeping affordability for our customers in mind, yet still the needs to address the Red Hill situation, our capital improvement investments, and renewing the infrastructure of the water systems. So those are all the challenges that we face.
No, I agree with you. Small increments is better than a big force field to swallow at one time.
Yeah, so that's our approach.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead. I guess we can move on to Jason with the CIP.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair Andaya and board members. This is the FY 2023 Capital Improvement Program budget. Next, please. The annual Capital Improvement Program is our commitment to the future of the water system. The annual program is compiled by the Capital Projects Division and includes projects from all divisions and staff offices. The CIP supports the divisions or the department's vision and mission and is aligned with the Water Master Plan, the department's strategic plan, which is currently being updated, each division's goals and objectives in support of these plans and also the 6-year long-range capital improvement program. Next, please. The CIP carefully balances the needs of the system in providing safe, reliable water service with cost-effective management of assets and funding. Next, please. As every year, the CIP is comprised of 3 project categories: research and development, renewal and replacement, and capacity expansion. Next, please. Now, this matrix shows the project categories and the sources of funding. Sources include, running across the top, the operating fund, as just presented by Ray, funding through low-interest loans from the Department of Health State Revolving Fund, the SRF, the Special Expendable Fund, which are collections of water system facility charges that fund system expansions, the Improvement Fund, which is revenue bonds that we sell and provide funding for our projects, and finally, the Extramural Fund for external funding provided to the BWS. In this case, these are the federal funds Mr. Lau mentioned earlier through the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. And I'll try and point out the projects as I go through the highlights of the CIP. So the total for this year's FY23 CIP is shown in the bottom right-hand corner. It is just over $180 million at $181,109,325. Next, please. Now, as we all know, the municipal water system is massive and diverse. This map simply illustrates the distribution of this year's design and construction projects around the island as we manage an island-wide municipal water system. Next, please. Let's get into the CIP highlights. These are the highlights for Category 1. $20 million is proposed for this project category. This year's program includes significant funding for well design and construction, both exploratory wells as possible replacements for sources offline due to the Red Hill fuel contamination, and also monitoring wells to serve as sentinels to warn of the movement of an underground fuel plume from the Red Hill bulk fuel storage facility. We also continue our construction management program that provides additional field expertise and training for the capital projects construction management branch. And finally, we will be drilling an exploratory well for development of an additional production well at the site of the existing Manoa Wells 2 station. Next, please. The largest category in the CIP is Category 2, which addresses the needs of an aging infrastructure. A total of $98 million is allocated in this project category and includes projects to perform renovations and renewals to aging facilities. 2 wells currently out of service at Mililani Wells 4 will be replaced, and renovation and upgrades will be performed at the existing Haleiwa Wells and Honolulu Wells 2 facilities. Haleiwa Wells renovation is one of the ARPA projects. Next, please. Category 2 also includes main replacements as we work toward a target goal prescribed in the Board of Water Supply Water Master Plan. Since the implementation of the Water Master Plan began in FY18, the gradually expanding main replacement program has awarded over 31 miles of main replacement prior to the current FY22 fiscal year, where 10 more miles are planned. This year, however, in FY23, we will scale back on our main replacement program to provide funding and staff capacity for higher priority projects, including design and construction to address the Red Hill crisis. For that reason, construction projects to replace only 4.1 miles of main are included in the FY23, but in areas stretching from Maili to Foster Village to Diamond Head. This is below our annual target of 11 miles, and we will look to catch up in future years. I also mentioned here that one of the projects in this 4.1 miles of main replacement is the Montserrat Water System Improvement Project that replaces approximately 4,000 feet of water mains, existing water mains. In addition to the construction, main replacement funding for approximately 5 miles of design projects is also included in the annual budget for future pipeline construction. Next, please. Other renewal and replacement needs include replacement of the failing Wilhelmina Rise 811 reservoir, also funded under ARPA. The installation of provisions to allow the connection of mobile generators to power critical pumping stations in the event of a HECO outage, and upgrades and updates to pump station instrumentations and controls at various facilities. Next, please. Also in FY23, we'll address regulatory requirements and dam safety concerns with improvements to the dam at Nuuanu Reservoir Number 1. And we will continue to upkeep our pumps and facilities around the island while also continuing to upgrade security at all Board of Water Supply locations. Security improvements to the tune of $4.6 million was also funded, will also be funded under the ARPA program. Next, please. Finally, our third category, capacity expansion, is primarily comprised of two initiatives. $17 million for the design, build, operate, maintain project delivery approach for the desalination facility at Kalailoa. And this is on 20 acres of land made available to the Board of Water Supply by the Barbers Point base closure. And another $4 million is appropriated or set to be appropriated for the installation and testing of up to 5 exploratory wells for source development in the vicinity of the Eva Shaft Tunnel. Now, this concludes the highlights of this year's CIP, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions?
Members, any questions?
No, I don't.
Chair, Jade,
Go ahead, Jade.
there's no surprises or anything, but, we're in a high inflation environment, and without the contract in place, the funding projections can be uncertain. So do we have contingency because of, costs continue to increase with inflation, supply chain issues and world economic impacts on Ukraine?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Jason to respond.
Yeah, sure. Ray took us back to the matrix, and you can see that the third line from the bottom is the construction cost index. And this is a set aside for rising or for bids that come in higher than the budgeted amounts. And we instituted this back when we had the economic decline 2008-ish. And then we've always had this in here. We reduced the percentage in more recent years, but for this current fiscal year or this proposed FY23 fiscal year, we increased the amount. So it's about 15% of all construction funding. We are opening bids right now for FY22. And it's hard for me to say right now what is the anticipated increase going to be. So there is a contingency set aside for higher bid prices, but it could very easily exceed that amount based on the one bid I've opened so far. So we'll have to see how it goes, and we'll just be able to award what we can fund.
Thank you, Chair.
Jason, I have a quick question. You said that the main replacement project is going to be reduced down to 4.1 miles.
That's right.
Which means that we're about 7 miles short of what we were planning to do.
That's right.
My question is, how much further out does that push it? Because if it's 4.1 this year, you know, it may be the same next year. How far out will that push the replacement project?
Hard for me to say with the uncertainty of the Red Hill situation. I'm not sure how far the or what the impacts of the increased workload will be on our staff. You know, pipeline replacement is a cycle from design through construction. So the pipeline replacement for FY23, the 11 miles that were planned are in design, and we are adding 5 more miles in FY23, but that would be for FY17 or FY27 construction. So we're looking farther down. So we could catch up if we have the resources and manpower to do it, but we'll have to wait and see.
I
But
think,
the construction is, I mean, the design is ongoing on these projects.
yeah. And Max, I think the point that Jason raises, right now we're kind of at the beginning stages of addressing what is the Red Hill situation.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's,
So
you know, we don't know.
But the idea is that once that kind of stabilizes and we know what the path forward is, and what the cost is, then we can kind of come back to getting back on catching up and getting back on track with the
Okay.
21 miles. Right now, some of the challenges are, you know, staff capacity. We are using construction management, project management. But Jason, how many vacancies do you have among your engineering staff right now?
Let me see, where could I find that? Let me guess. I think I have about 11. But as I think you pointed out to me just the other day, you know, this reduction in main replacement, which is our big project category here in capital projects, will allow us some time to train some of our new engineers so that, you know, we'll be able to pick up a larger workload, so more miles than planned in future years. We do have 3 new entry-level civil engineers that just started within the last 2 months.
So Jason and I have been discussing that it's been really hard to find licensed professional experienced engineers.
Yeah.
And everybody's struggling, private sector and public sector. Why don't we look at engineers right out of college, civil engineer ones. And he's been able to pick up 3 excellent entry-level engineers. Then in 3 to 4 years, they're going to get up to speed, and we'll have potentially 4 years, 5 years licensed engineers on our staff. So,
Well, that's good. At least you're training them before they pick up bad habits from someplace else, so. But anyway, no, I'm glad to hear that you're planning to, when we get back onto track to replacing pipes, I'm glad that you're planning to at least add a couple more miles to the target 11 miles that were that you know we originally had planned. So okay, well, that's good to hear. Thank you. Thanks, Jason.
okay. Thanks, Jason.
Members, any more questions? If not, I've got some. Okay, so I'd like to follow up on the main replacement construction. So, and I know that we have to kind of settle for a lower amount this time around. I'm just trying to get a better understanding. What exactly is the connection with Red Hill? Is it because we have to divert engineers to work on the Red Hill situation, or is it to develop additional water resources?
So you saw in the budget a lot more going into the research and development category here, about $20 million going into that category, really to get that process going as quickly as it can to expedite development of replacement capacity. With the closure of the 3 wells, and we want to really rather than waiting a few years until the investigation into the aquifer contamination is further along, We understand if we can or cannot turn on those 3 wells that are shut down, we want to use this time actually to proceed to develop new wells. So a lot of the staff effort is going to be redirected towards source development, something we haven't done as much in recent years. Jason, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's exactly right. It is source development, but also related to any source development is infrastructure to support that. You know,
Pipelines.
we need to tie any new sources we're able to develop into the existing water system. So yes, Mr. Lau is exactly right. You know, the R&D category at $20 million is far more than what it normally is, which is around $4 to $5 million.
Is that the capacity expansion of 23.9 million, the Kaleidoa, desal?
That also relates to, those projects were underway prior to Red Hill. But yeah, that also adds capacity to the water system in a part of the system that is also connected to the Waipahu and Honolulu water system.
Okay,
And I'll also add that the capacity expansion projects, the Eva Shaft and the Kaleidoa, are projects being developed by Water Resources, but in this timeframe will come over to capital projects for construction, and that will also take our staff capacity.
I see. Okay. So the 20 million that you were referring to earlier was the R&D. That would be for exploratory and monitoring wells. Manoa well, 2 exploratory well.
Yes.
Okay. So the Manoa well, is that a new well, or is that replacing, or?
There's an existing well there. This is a second well we want to drill on the same site.
Would this add capacity?
I think it would add some capacity. We'll have to test it to see if it's actually going to add or be standby capacity as emergency backup too. Right now, that high service system, you know, Beretania wells used to pumps into the high service system, but because of the increasing chloride levels, we've had to kind of reduce the pumping rate into the high service system. So having a well at Manoa will help our situation, although it's small in capacity.
Okay. What's the timeline on like the Manoa well, and then as well as some of these, capacity expansion projects, Eva Shaft and whatnot?
Maybe Jason can answer the question about Manoa well, or well 2, the timeline for that, and Barry can talk about Eva Shaft.
I guess in the case of Manoa 2, which would be well number 2, it all depends on how we intend to use that, and then which would be based on once we drill the exploratory well and do the test pumping, we'll see what infrastructure is required to support the additional well. And so, because it's an existing station, you would think if we start design next fiscal year on a production, or the additions to the production station, we could probably get that out to constructed within 3 years after that.
Okay, thank you.
And Barry, about Eva Shaft wells.
Yeah, it's hello, board members. Yeah, up to 5 wells. The station renovations is currently under design. So we are designing the pump stations and the connecting pipeline with the anticipation that we'll find water there. Construction, I don't think we have a schedule for that. It could be in 25. FY25 is when we may get to construction. Maybe 24 if we expedite it. But that's the time frame. There's an existing design contract. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think just comments on Manoa 2, it's meant to be a standby because the existing pump, when that goes out, it's there's no other backup, and So what Ernie was saying about cutting back at Beretania, it allows more source up in the back of Manoa. But yeah, there is an existing pump station that they connect to. So just wanted to add that.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Going back to the pipelines. I'm wondering if there is a metric in terms of how much we're spending per mile of replacement. I mean, we're talking about inflation earlier, so I'm just trying to get a sense of how much more it's costing us to replace per mile today as opposed to 5 years ago.
Yeah, Jason, any thoughts on that? We'd have to probably look at the data, but.
That's a difficult question to answer because the projects are so different. It's not just a size thing, it's much more regarding location and geology. So, but if I were to hazard a guess, no, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look at that more closely. The numbers have been all over the place, depending on the size of the project, the location of the project, and yeah, so.
Okay, I'm just no rush. But it would be good to have some sort of metric so that when we go back to the ratepayers and then ask them for an increase, we can kind of say, hey, it's costing this much more to replace a pipeline today than it was in
Yeah,
previous
maybe
years.
an average plus
So
inflation.
we have to we need your support. It's easier.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, maybe an average, Jason, plus an inflation put into that, because I understand geology has something to do with it as well, digging through rock as opposed to digging through soil. But yeah, that's a good idea, Mr. Chair. So at least if we do have to raise the rates or something, that we at least have the general public knows exactly
Yeah,
why the rates are going up.
well, yeah, that's very clear. We have to make sure that we explain the why, anytime we propose rate increases, why it's necessary, what is it gonna be used for? How has the prior year rate increases been used for our customers? But I think maybe where you're heading to, Chair, is that right now, this is kind of becoming a period of high inflation and also supply chain issues, and also material price increases. Is it a time to kind of pause a little bit and then come back when pricing is better with more projects? It also depends on our staff, our capacity to deliver the projects, but right now we are paying more to do these projects. So I know we subscribe to UHERO, University of Hawaii Economic Research Organization. And we'll be sure to ask them to come back with a presentation to the board on their construction forecast. And maybe they can answer questions about inflation and where things might be heading.
Okay.
Yeah, when you talk to them, maybe the projection in terms of not simply the concern, but also their what they see as inflation, the cost, and so forth. Because that might be something you might consider, putting off projects for later if the forecast is such that.
Yeah, possibly is. So we'll reach out to UHERO. I think we're a subscriber to UHERO, so they are obligated to provide some presentations.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Very interesting to see what they say.
Yeah.
I will share one piece of information I heard just last week. Pipeline projects very much impacted by materials and shipping. Right now, we understand that the delivery time on pipe is 20 to 24 weeks, which is just going to throw the schedule off, right? We're talking 6-month delay just to get the pipe to start the project. and,
So-
you know, the impacts on the costs and all of that. So, yes, it's going to be a very different year this year and next.
Okay, let me follow up on that point, on shipping. How does that affect our current inventory in answering emergency repairs? I don't know who should ask that question.
I think we're able to respond to that, but Jason Nikaido, in terms of, are we seeing any impacts on our ability to repair main breaks?
No, so far we have not seen any impacts. We had enough in inventory to accommodate repair all the main breaks. And even though the lead time was longer, we ordered far enough in advance where the shipping delays didn't impact us this year.
Okay, good job. Good
Yeah,
job.
thank you,
I
Jay.
think that's the main thing, you know.
Jason, just be sure to keep an ample supply when you stop.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, members, any further questions? If not, just a final comment. I'm really happy to see that we are devoting additional resources towards R&D and capacity expansion to ensure that we are, in light of the situation that we have, to try to ensure as best as we can to our ability to meet the demand of the water demand for the future as much as possible.
Chair, if I can make one last comment here. I just want to acknowledge the mayor and the administration and also the Honolulu City Council for their support for us being able to get funding from the ARPA fiscal recovery funds, the federal funds to help offset our cost of some of our CIP projects for our ratepayers. So every dollar of federal funds that we get through the program is a dollar less that we have to go to our ratepayers. So really appreciate the administration and the city council for their support, and this board also. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, Madam Secretary, is there any public testimony via telephone or any written testimony?
No testimony via public or on phone.
Okay, so nobody downstairs. Have we received any written communications?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, one final call for questions. If not, this brings us to the end of our workshop meeting agenda. Okay, hearing none, I'd like to, mahalo all board members, Manager Lau, everyone here today, the department, BWS staff. This is a very important part in our function as a public agency. And this concludes this workshop meeting of the board. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Jade,
you.
second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed, please say nay. Okay, hearing none, motion passes and we stand adjourned. Thank you again, everybody.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Mahalo.
Thank you for the information. Thanks, guys.
Hello.